I can't believe I'm doing this, but I am starting a YouTube channel. Hi, my name's Laurie. I am an avid reader, have been since I was like 12. I had dyslexia as a child and couldn't read, so my mum spent every waking moment, my teacher spent every waking moment helping me read, and alas, the book addiction begun. I started with Scudery Pleasant, I ended with, well, it's still going, so there's no end in sight. My book collection, I have just hit recently 600 books, which is insane. I'm getting to a point where I actually have no space. I have like little snippets within my bookcases for books, but after that I have no room for another bookcase. So that's going to be interesting when I finally actually run out of space. I did get rid of a bunch of books that weren't 5 stars or were above 3 stars, I think, books that I knew I was never going to read again. So the books in my collection at the moment are books that I absolutely want to keep, but you know, new books come in all the time and I end up not liking them. I think the most recent one was On Wings of Blood, which was a really unpopular opinion, but that book just didn't hit for me. Anyway, I have a 7-year-old German Shepherd and we go running not every morning, but most mornings, and we absolutely love that. Yeah, I really don't know how else to start this. What's my favourite book? Okay, my absolute favourite book, okay, top 5. It's really hard to nail down number 1, but it's the Jasad Heir by Sarah Hassim. I read this 2 years ago and it has not left me. I constantly think about this book. I constantly compare other books to this book, and I'm so excited that the next book is coming out really soon. I think in the next couple weeks. Cannot come fast enough. But yeah, there are so many books that I could go on about, but that one is one of my absolute favourite books of all time. I think another one would probably be, I know this is a really common opinion, but Throne of Glass was one that I read when my Romantasy era begun, and it's one that has stuck with me ever since. I absolutely love the journey of Aelin. Yeah, that's what I have to say. I'm not a huge fan of ACOTAR though. I know that's a really unpopular opinion, but ACOTAR for me was not, it was good, don't get me wrong, it was good. It just wasn't my favourite. I really loved A Court of Silver Flames, which I have to say I did not see happening. When that book was announced, I was like, I'm not going to read that. I'm not really into spin-offs following other characters. My mind was changed when I picked up that book. I absolutely devoured that book. I think it comes really, really close to Throne of Glass for me, because I have reread that book and annotated the absolute crap out of it. Actually, I'm going to grab my copy. Yeah, my copy, I don't even think you can see the sheer amount of tabs that's on this book, but I have annotated every single page. I've highlighted, I have written in it. This is my copy that just gets absolutely, not battered, but just, it has all my musings in here, all my reactions. I do have 2 copies of this book because I have a special edition dust jacket, I think it's called. But yeah, this book hit me so hard. I really didn't see that coming, because I was of the opinion that Nesta was not a good person. I did not like Nesta. My opinion was changed when I read that book. It is so funny that you can make a snap judgment without ever really truly knowing a person, but then when you get to know them and you know their backstory and live inside their head, you finally have an understanding and you kind of hate yourself. Well, I did anyway. I hated myself for making that snap judgment and absolutely hating her. I love this book. I prefer it like 10 times more than ACOTAR ever did. And to be honest, this book was actually the catalyst of what made me not like ACOTAR so much, because I'm gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of Rysand. Yeah, he's not a book boyfriend for me. Anyway, I do like, what's her name, Feyre, but Rysand, yeah, don't love him. Also, her mate Cassian, don't absolute love him. Like, I love this book with everything in me, but surprisingly, I don't love the way Cassian treats Nesta, especially from what you see in Crescent City, I am for a book boyfriend that absolutely sticks by their woman and puts them first. In retrospect, for me, he does not do that. He's not a book boyfriend. Rowan will always be my number one. He did make mistakes, but he owned up to them, and he corrected them. Cassian has not done that. I'm hoping that we'll see more in ACOTAR 6 and see where it goes from, but yeah, not a huge fan of Cassian, which was surprising. And I think Crescent City 3 was actually the catalyst for me finally cementing the opinion that Cassian isn't the greatest mate. But yeah, I've just rambled for however long talking about Cassian and of course Silver Flames, but I devour books like they are my lifeblood, to be quite honest. I think I've read this week 3 whole books. I'm currently starting a new one, The Twisted Throne, which is book 5 in the Bridge Kingdom. I really surprisingly ended up loving the Bridge Kingdom. When I picked up the Bridge Kingdom, which is obviously book 1, I didn't think I was going to absolutely love it because I'd been putting it off for so long, even though I'd seen loads of people rave about that book. But when I read A Fate Ink to Blood, which ended up being my Fairy Loot book of the month last year, I think. Yeah, it would have been last year. I didn't love it. And it wasn't the writing, it was the premise of the book. I just wasn't a huge fan. It was a bit icky to me, which I know nothing actually happened to make it icky, but it was still icky. I couldn't look past it. But I decided to give the Bridge Kingdom a go just to see if I liked Danielle L. Jensen outside of that premise. And I really freaking did. I ended up reading that book, bought the whole series, and I'm currently on book 5. That's how quick I've read it. And we are on the 20th of June, and I think I read that on the... when did I read that? Yeah, I picked up that book on the 1st of June. And we're currently on the 20th and I'm on book 5, which I guess is not that impressive, but I did read books in between it because I'm currently trying to get through my June TBR and my priority reads. So I picked 3 priority reads that I personally want to prioritize, and then I picked 5 TBR picks from my little red cup because I have an insane amount of TBRs. Yeah, that makes sense. I have... When I started the month, I had 76. I currently have 72, which I think is really impressive. But I found that a lot of books that I had bought, embarrassingly, years ago, had still not been read. So I thought the best way of actually ensuring that I read them and don't forget about them, because I'm at a point where I have books behind books, put them in a little red cup. Every month I pick 5. This month is the first month that I am doing this, and it's actually been really good. I've read Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid, which had been on my TBR for quite a while, not years, but quite a while, and I ended up reading that book in one sitting. I really enjoyed it. It was really interesting, it was unique, and I think it's what I needed after so many romantasy books, because I love romantasy books, but they are sometimes very repetitive, and it is nice to either have like a palate cleanser book, which I'd read recently, which was For Whom the Bell Tolls, which is a character driven story, which was really fun and really enjoyable, and also kind of hit kind of hard. And then Lady Macbeth, which is something a little bit different. It's not a romantasy in any way, but it was really interesting to see that take into the Macbeth story. And I do love Ava Reid's writing. I do love the way she writes, and the way her books are just so interesting and so unique. But yeah. Well, yeah, so those are the books I'd read in between trying to get through those 2 piles, and so far it's actually going really well. But I will say, I think next month the TBR picks, I'm going to go from 5 to 3, because I haven't had any books that I could just pick off from my shelves. I've had to concentrate on the books that were on my TBR, on my cart. So yeah, we'll see how that goes next month. I think I'm going to be on a posting schedule of twice a week. In the meantime, I think that's manageable, because I do have a full-time job. I do have my own business as well, which I'm in the midst of rebranding and relaunching. It's called Sash Monthly. If you're interested, the social media hasn't been touched in a while, but it's because a lot of things have been going on in the background, so that will be coming up fairly soon, I think. But I think that's going to be it. We'll talk about my current read. So I'm reading The Twisted Throne by Danielle L. Jensen, which is book 5 in the Bridge Kingdom. And I'm also about to start Bow Before the Elf Queen by J.M. Curl. Her 5th book in this series is coming out on the 26th, which is really soon, and I really love this series, and I've been waiting so patiently for book 5. So I'm finally going to annotate and highlight and, you know, absolutely scribble all my thoughts and feelings into this book, and then hopefully I'll get done by the time the 5th book comes to me, because I know it'll probably take a while to get delivered, which is always the case with indie authors. I'm trying to wait to see if it goes live on Waterstones, because I don't like ordering from Amazon, but we'll see. So those are the 2 I'm going to read, and my next video will be a bookish vlog, so we'll see how that goes. That's going to be interesting. I think I'm going to be on a posting schedule of